At Gourmet, Ethan sat quietly, staring blankly at the menu in front of him. The usual lively chatter and the clinking of dishes seemed distant, a faint hum in the background. His thoughts were consumed by Sicil's confession about Sebastian. He hadn't expected it. He thought they were moving closer, only to find that a shadow from her past still lingered in her heart. The weight of that revelation pressed down on him harder than he cared to admit. Across the table, Tia, Ethan's sister, and Alex, her boyfriend, were in the midst of one of their usual debates, which would normally pull Ethan in, laughing and taking Alex's side for fun. Tonight, however, his mind was far away. "Oh, come on, Alex! You seriously trust Siri over me when it comes to directions?" Tia exclaimed, crossing her arms and giving Alex a pointed look. Alex rolled his eyes, holding up his phone as if presenting evidence in court. "Tia, Siri knows the roads. It's literally her job. You say you know shortcuts, but every time you insist on taking one of your shortcuts, we end up stuck in some sketchy alley or the middle of a traffic jam." Tia threw her hands up in exasperation. "That's an exaggeration. I know the roads better than any AI assistant ever could. I've been driving around this city since before Siri was even a thing." Alex smirked. "Oh, really? Remember that time you had us driving through that dead-end street behind the warehouse? We could barely turn the car around." Tia huffed. "It wasn't a dead-end street. It was a scenic route." Alex leaned forward, raising an eyebrow. "Scenic route? There were stray cats and broken-down cars everywhere. Pretty sure we were lost." Tia gave him a playful shove. "I got us out of there, didn't I?" Alex shook his head, a grin spreading across his face. "After Siri had to bail you out. I swear, Tia, your shortcuts are more like detours into horror movie sets." Ethan, still silent, would usually laugh at this point, probably offering a teasing comment about how Tia's shortcuts could lead to another dimension. But tonight, he barely noticed their playful bickering, his mind wrapped around the name Sebastian. Tia, who was now deeply invested in proving her point, noticed Ethan's lack of response. Normally, he'd be joining in by now. Mocking her navigation skills in support of Alex, she turned to him, eyes narrowing. "Ethan, hello? Are you even listening?" She waved a hand in front of his face, but he didn't flinch, still staring blankly at the menu. Alex, noticing his unusual silence, leaned over and grinned, nudging Ethan in the ribs. "What's up, man? You look like you've lost a bet. Or, wait, are you upset because they ran out of turkey sandwiches?" Tia giggled, rolling her eyes. "Yeah, that's it. No turkey, no joy. Classic Ethan." But when Ethan didn't even crack a smile, their teasing fell flat. Tia exchanged a concerned look with Alex. Ethan was usually quick to make a comeback, especially when it came to food jokes. Something was definitely off. Tia leaned forward, lowering her voice. "Ethan, seriously, what's wrong? You're acting weird. Is everything okay?" Her concern growing. "You're not even siding with Alex like you usually do, which is suspicious. What's going on?" Ethan blinked, finally dragged out of his thoughts. He looked up at them, their concerned faces breaking through the fog of his mind. He sighed, putting down the menu he hadn't even looked at, and ran a hand through his hair, clearly struggling with what to say. "I don't know, Tia. It's just something that happened earlier." Alex raised an eyebrow. Curiosity piqued. "Earlier? What? Did someone mess up your sandwich order or something?" Ethan gave him a sideways glance, but couldn't muster a laugh. After a pause, he finally exhaled, realizing he wouldn't be able to dodge their questions much longer. "It's Sicil," he admitted softly, his voice heavy with emotion. Tia's eyes widened. "Sicil? What about her?" Ethan hesitated, feeling the weight of the words before they left his mouth. She told me she's still in love with someone from her past. Some guy named Sebastian. They were separated years ago, but I guess she never stopped loving him." A heavy silence fell over the table. Tia and Alex exchanged glances, clearly not expecting that. Tia reached out, placing a hand on her brother's arm. "Oh, Ethan, I'm so sorry." Alex leaned back in his chair, shaking his head. "Wait, hold up. So she's still hung up on some guy who's not even around?" Ethan nodded, swallowing hard. "Yeah, she said she loved him, but they've been apart for years." Alex thought for a moment, then leaned forward, his expression serious. "Look, Ethan, I know this is rough, but if you have feelings for her, you can't just sit there and let that be the end of it. You've got to tell her how you feel. She deserves to know." Ethan shook his head, clearly conflicted. "But what if it doesn't change anything? What if she's still in love with him?" Alex shrugged. "Maybe she is, but maybe she's holding on to something because she doesn't know how you feel. If you never tell her, you'll always wonder what if. You can't live like that, man. You've got to take the chance." Tia nodded in agreement. "Alex is right. You can't let fear hold you back, Ethan. You care about Sicil, right?" Ethan nodded slowly. "Yeah, more than I realized." Tia squeezed his arm, her voice gentle but firm. "Then you have to tell her. Don't let someone from her past get in the way of your future." Ethan sat there, the weight of their words sinking in. He had always been cautious, deliberate, someone who thought things through before acting. But maybe this was the moment to take a risk, to stop overthinking and just speak from the heart. He looked at Tia and Alex, feeling a glimmer of hope amid the confusion. Maybe they were right. Maybe it was time to stop holding back. As the moon bathed the night in a soft silver glow, Ethan lay wide awake, staring at the ceiling. Alex's words echoed in his mind, urging him to take the leap, to tell Sicil how he felt before it was too late. But fear gnawed at him. What if she didn't feel the same way? What if confessing only drove her away? He wrestled with the thoughts until the first faint rays of dawn broke through his window, painting the room with a soft light. With the morning came clarity. Ethan sat up, the weight of his decision settling on his chest, but this time it didn't feel as heavy. He had made up his mind. No more hiding behind friendship, no more pretending his feelings didn't exist. He loved Sicil, and she deserved to know, no matter how terrifying it was. He couldn't go on living in uncertainty, always wondering what could have been. As soon as he reached the college campus, his eyes scanned the crowds, searching for her. His heart thumped wildly in his chest, but determination propelled him forward. He spotted Sicil, her familiar figure standing by the library, engrossed in conversation with a friend. Mustering all his courage, he approached her and gently called her name. "Sicil, can I talk to you?" "Alone?" he asked, his voice steady despite the storm of emotions inside him. Sicil looked up, slightly surprised by the urgency in his tone. "Sure, Ethan, is everything okay?" He nodded, though okay was far from what he felt. They walked in silence to the oak tree where they had spoken the day before, the very spot where she had confided in him about Sebastian. The memory of that conversation weighed on his heart, but he knew what he had to do. Taking a deep breath, Ethan turned to face her. "Sicil, there's something I've been wanting to tell you. I've been holding it in for too long and I can't keep it to myself anymore." Sicil's brow furrowed with concern. "Ethan, what is it? You're starting to worry me." He gave her a small, reassuring smile, though his heart was racing. "It's about us. About how I feel. Sicil, He hesitated for a split second, then pressed on, his voice soft but unwavering. "I love you, Sicil. I've loved you for a long time, and I know your heart might not belong to me. I know you still care about Sebastian, but I needed to tell you. I needed you to know that no matter where your heart is, I'm willing to wait. I'll wait forever if I have to. I don't want to force anything, but I couldn't keep pretending anymore." Sicil's eyes widened, her face a mixture of shock and confusion. She blinked, processing his words, but for a moment she seemed lost for a response. Finally, she took a deep breath, her voice gentle but firm. "Ethan, I don't know what to say. I never thought of you as anything more than my friend. I mean, we've known each other for so long and you've always been there for me, but I never saw you that way. I never thought this was something we'd be talking about." Ethan felt a sharp pang in his chest, but he forced a smile. "I get it, Sicil, I do. I don't want to make things awkward or ruin what we have. I just couldn't keep it bottled up anymore. I'm not asking you to feel the same way right now. All I'm saying is I'll wait as long as it takes. I just want you to know how I feel." Sicil looked at him, her expression softening as she reached out to touch his arm. "Ethan, you're such an incredible person. and I value our friendship more than anything. I don't want to hurt you, and I'm afraid that if we try to be something more, it'll change everything between us." Ethan's heart ached at her words, but he nodded, his voice calm. "I understand, and I don't want to lose our friendship either, but I also can't ignore how I feel. So, I'll be patient. I don't expect you to magically return my feelings overnight. I just needed to be honest with you." Sicil's eyes glistened with emotion as she looked at him, clearly touched by his vulnerability. "Ethan, I care about you so much. I don't want to mess this up. I don't know if I'll ever feel the same way you do, and I don't want you waiting around for something that might never happen." Ethan shook his head, smiling gently. "Don't worry about me, Sicil. I can handle it. I don't want to pressure you. I just needed you to know, whatever happens, I'll be here. As your friend, or whatever else comes next. I'm not going anywhere." They stood in silence for a moment beneath the oak tree, the breeze gently rustling the leaves above them. The tension between them was heavy, but there was also an understanding, a quiet recognition of the complexities of love and friendship. Sicil took a deep breath, offering him a sad but grateful smile. "Thank you, Ethan. I am grateful for the love and kindness you have always showered me. I'm really not sure what to do right now." Ethan responded, his heart still heavy but filled with a sense of relief. "Take your time, Sicil. I'm not in a hurry.